speaking of Ukraine, infrastructure in the Ukrainian port city of Odessa was heavily damaged in a drone strike, according to Ukrainian officials on Monday. The overnight attack significantly damaged both a port and an abandoned hotel, while also destroying a grain silo. This comes after 5 people were killed over the weekend from Russian attacks. Russian forces have consistently targeted infrastructure meant for storing and shipping of food. As Ukraine enters its 20th month of war, 60 Minutes took a closer look into how the billions of dollars the U.S. has sent to support the country are being used. The money sent by the U.S. has been mostly spent on military aid, according to this amazing report by Holly Williams. But other assistance has made a significant impact in keeping Ukraine afloat. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham told 60 Minutes these investments are worth the cost.
People ask me, is it worth it? Here's what we've gotten for our investment. We haven't lost one soldier. We've reduced the combat power of the Russian army by 50%, and not one of us has died in that endeavor. This is a great deal for America.
And now joining us is former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Ivo Daalder. He is now the Chief Executive Officer of the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. We're very happy to have him, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you very much for being here. $43 billion, that's how much money the U.S. has spent on military aid to Ukraine. If you could put it to us bluntly, would Ukraine exist as an independent country in the absence of that investment?
No, it wouldn't. This is a war in which the Russians launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine now 20 months ago with one purpose, which was to make sure that Ukraine as a country would not be able to make the kinds of decisions any independent country can make, which alliances it belongs to, what kind of political system it has, who its leaders are. This was an attempt to take over a country. It has failed. Russia has failed because of the extraordinary spirit and fighting power of the Ukrainians, but they couldn't be fighting without the kinds of equipment that the United States has provided, as your really excellent report on 60 Minutes last night demonstrated. And I agree with Senator Lindsey Graham. It's hard to see how you could get more for the buck. The destruction of half of it, $43 billion. No war could do that unless other people are doing it for us.
So on that note, the Biden administration is proposing another $20 billion of aid. How necessary are those investments?
It's vital. The administration and Congress agreed as part of a package of aid to fund support for Ukraine through the end of September, and that money is still being rolled out. But as you know, we're at the end of September, and the Biden administration has said if we want to continue to support Ukraine at the pace and with the level of support that we've done to date, we need for the next 3 months, for the last 3 months of this calendar year, to provide another $24 billion, including $13 billion for military support. And given what's going on in Ukraine, the kinds of brutality we're seeing every day, it is critical that Ukraine have the means to both defend itself and its cities against the kind of brutal, undiscriminating attacks, and to continue the counteroffensive that's finally starting to show real progress. So this is the last moment at which to pull the plug on Ukraine. It is absolutely vital we continue it.
Mr. Ambassador, Amazon can sometimes struggle in my neck of the woods to put a package on my porch and keep it there. So I can only imagine that when you're sending aid and equipment into a war zone where things are considerably more chaotic and unpredictable, there might be concern about misuse and stolen property. This is something that Ukrainian intelligence services have said have been an issue in the past, military weapons in particular. So should Americans be alarmed about the prospect of what we're sending going to the wrong people?
You know, listen, when $75 billion of military aid and then probably another 75 or more billion dollars of economic aid flows into a country in just 18 months, the ability to account for every penny and every euro is going to be difficult. But what I thought was particularly important in the report that 60 Minutes had yesterday was the determination and the understanding of the Ukrainians to make sure that whatever graft takes place, and graft will take place, whatever corruption does exist, is dealt with, and dealt with immediately and with determination. We saw in the last few weeks the resignation and, in fact, firing of the defense minister, the firing of all the procurement defense folks in the Defense Department. And as a result, we see that Ukraine is willing not only to fight this fight, but also to do so in a way that minimizes the possibility for graft and corruption.
Ivo Daalder, thank you so much for joining us.